I was sitting in a basement with my friends that I was working with at the time. We were all doing e-commerce, and we were just like looking at the phone screen like, yo, we're doing $5,000 a day right now. Like these types of numbers are unheard of where we're from. Like we didn't think that this type of shit was real because we're just from a small town. Like nobody makes good money there. People make like $4,000 a month max, and we were doing that every single day.
Hello to everyone and welcome to a new episode of the Ecom Business Stream Podcast, where I have a special guest for me, and I would love to introduce him today because this person is really close to me since we met each other when I started my e-commerce journey back in 2017, actually beginning of 2018. We met each other on the same mastermind with my first mentor. And this person at that time shows me what's the real hustle, especially in such a young age. He was that time 16 or 17, but he shows the incredible potential of the guy who will be achieving whatever he wants. And actually he showed that and he proved that. As for now, today he's 22 years old, entrepreneur who made already over $30 million in the Shopify space, mostly in the dropshipping stores for his clients. And he also a real estate investor, which is already acquired this year, 5th or 6th house. I will ask him during the journey. And as well, this person just surprising me by his Discord community and all the value which he's delivering with his Ecom Viral Ads company. And today I'm excited to introduce you to my friend, to an amazing entrepreneur and just honest guy, Noah Brewer. Noah, what's up, my man? How are you doing?
What's going on, bro? Nice introduction.
Thanks, man. Yeah, for me, it's something special. Like you are the person who I have only two people who I know since 2017 until today. Like I'm keeping in touch because like this is something important for me. When we had nothing and now we are like where we are as for today. And I'm really excited to speak about a piece of that journey and as well where are you now and what's your goals and can you help to our ecom community. This couple of maybe nuggets or suggestions, maybe we'll speak about that. So let's see. Is it okay for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, like we were both in the same mentorship program back in 2017, 2018. I was real young back then. You were pretty young back then.
26.
Yeah, I mean, that's still young though. You were what, like 21, 22?
No, I was 26 that time.
Oh, you were 26 then. You look young for a 30-year-old. I could believe that you're like 25 right now, to be honest. But look, that was a crazy journey though, because I remember, talking to you in the chats and we were like, I think I was like seeing a little bit of success by the time you came along. Like maybe I had a couple stores that were pushing, 2-3K a day, like in that range. And we were kind of just chatting and there were a couple other guys that were also in the program around that time, which also really ended up crushing it. So
yeah, I remember Maz, a couple other guys, and even I was struggling in one store and you were helping out to me because you were already getting really great achievements in the dropshipping space. And tell me please, how that journey was looking for you in that moment. You were young, you were that time still at school, and your parents, you, ecom, investments, all that stuff. How young guy can make that happen?
Yeah, so I wasn't in school at that time. So kind of like a little bit into how I got started. I started exploring like the stock market and kind of the world of being self-employed when I was probably about 15 years old. I was a freshman in high school. And I realized you can't make money with the stock market if you don't have any money to invest. And I didn't have any money to invest. So I started looking into how I can make money as a 15-year-old, which you can't get a job, not here in the United States. You don't have anything. So you have to generate money from nothing. So I did that by mowing lawns, doing like $10 an hour work, doing chores for my parents, and they would give me like $5-10 here and there. And then I discovered online business, online marketing, got really, really into door-to-door selling. And then I approached my mother, and told her that I wanted to drop out of school and pursue business full-time. This is when I was 16 years old. This was like around March of 2017 is when I officially left school. I think I was a junior. And then the time where I discovered e-commerce and actually started messing around with e-commerce was about 6 months after that. So, by the time I found Ecom, I was already out of school. I was already, doing door-to-door sales. I wasn't really making money. I was making like, I don't know, $300 to $500 a month, just commissions here and there. And that's probably like 5 or 6 months after that, I started doing sales for Mark. And I started off working with Mark as a salesperson because I told him, this is what I'm good at. Let me sell your course. And then obviously, as you know, I ended up making some good money with him. And then I ended up joining his course, basically just taking the money and rolling it back into it and then getting into e-commerce. So yeah, I wasn't in school. It wasn't super hard for me, but one thing that a lot of people have to realize is like, in order to see success, it just takes a lot of time. And I just happened to start when I was like 14, 15 years old. And I was actually hustling, like literally grinding every single day for probably about a year to a year and a half before I made any money at all. I just happened to start very young. So yeah.
I will tell you that you took a huge advantage, and on your example and some other people who I know, I tell to my son, he's 5-year-old. He's excited to start his own business during like middle school. He's really excited about that to start doing something. But what I want to say that it was really a huge advantage. I realized how late I found out what it's all about, but it was actually the same year, so everything was just pumping up. And how was really a reaction of your parents? Like, hey, mom, I want to quit the school. I mean, it's really serious decision, and for parents, even more serious decision to allow you to do that. Like it's insane hard. How was that on your family?
It was very difficult. Like, it took me, like, first of all, my dad was completely against it, and he still is to this day. Obviously, he sees that how it worked out, and he's proud of me and all this stuff, but he wouldn't have let it slide. So it was just up to my mom, though. So I had to talk to her probably for like 3 to 4 hours a day, probably for 3 to 4 weeks, like literally just berating her every single day. Like, I'm leaving school, I'm leaving school, I'm leaving school, I'm leaving school. You need to say yes, you need to say yes. And then I finally told her something that I think made her fold, which was actually advice straight from Gary Vaynerchuk. And he basically said, he was basically talking to parents of kids. So he wasn't talking to somebody like me, he was talking to somebody like my parents, but obviously I was the one seeing it. So he basically said that as a parent, you should let your kid do what they want to do. Even if it's destructive, even if you don't believe it's the best thing for them, under certain circumstances, as long as it's not too destructive. And the reason is because, for example, if you tell your kid that they can't do something and then it ends up holding them back or stopping them from doing what they want to do, then they will end up resenting you. So I basically told, my mother that I really, really wanted to be successful by the time I turned 18, because that's the age in the US where you have to you don't have to, but I was going to go off on my own, start paying rent. Like, that's when people usually get a job, like all this shit. So I told her, like, look, I need to be successful by the time I'm 18, and school is in the way of me accomplishing that. Like, I was fully convinced if I waste 8 hours a day of my time at school, I'm never going to accomplish success, which I probably could have, but it makes it a lot easier if I don't have to. So I told her this, and I said, you are the only thing that's stopping me from leaving school. Because in the US, your parents have to sign off, like they have to approve on it. So I said, like, Mom, I don't want you to stand between me and my goals. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to stay in school like you want me to. And I'm not going to hit my goals, and I'm going to blame you for it. And I think that this just really resonated with her, because she understood how serious I was. Like, I was literally telling her, either you let me do this, and I fail, like worst case scenario, I fail and I go back to school, right? Like, it's not that big of a deal. The even worst case scenario is you don't let me leave school and I fail, and then I blame you for it. So it's just like, hey, Mom, like, I don't want to blame you for the reason I don't hit my goals. And she didn't want to be the target of that blame, which I don't blame her for that. Like, it was just a rough situation.
Yeah, like I really, like, as a parent, for me it's tough to think about that. If something gonna be what I completely not agree with, I have to allow my son to do. But about the school, I completely in if he will make this decision. Not like, hey, you don't need the school. It's about his decision. It's about I understand how many entrepreneurs nowadays really drop out of school. And what's important thing there, you have to really see that mentally the person is ready. I mean, since you were saying that you are grinding every single day, because sometimes people just trying in a month or two, they don't see the results and they quitting, and now he's out of school. He's like, and now he gonna be blaming his parents that allowed him, and it will be even worse. So you really have to show them that you are super serious about your goals and about where you want to be. And I remember on that time you really were showing everything, and I was respecting the guy on that end in Skype, like, fuck, he's so young and he's doing that shit. Wow, it's insane. It was really admire me, and it's cool. So when you move forward, I remember your first success story, if I'm not mistaken, first or no, it was like 300K or something like that with the shoe store. You were helping to one of our friends, and how everything started rolling after that. What you were feeling when you start getting that kind of like payout checks for your results? What was your mindset and how parents start reacting on it?
They didn't really know, but I mean, basically, I started ecom like September of 2017. I didn't really see any success for about 3 months. I know it's like a far cry, like, oh, too bad you didn't see success in 3 months. But yeah, I took on the first store, and we actually took a very unique angle because I feel like I didn't have enough money to like invest in ads and like figure it out for myself. So we actually were approaching people that basically had the money but didn't have as much experience, and we were offering them to run their stores and take a percentage of the profits. So, you know, that first store that I grew to, you know, 300K, obviously it wasn't my store. We just took a percent of the profits, which is actually really good because it allowed us to take on multiple stores without needing to worry about fulfillment or scaling issues like payment processing and all that. So I basically took on one store, brought it to like 1,000 a day. I think it took us like 2 weeks to a month to do that. And then we went into a Facebook group and we're like, hey, we just helped this guy take his store to $1,000 a day. Does who's next? Like, we'll do it for someone else. And of course someone came. We took them to 5K a day. Like, this is within a 2-month span that we were growing these 2 stores now to like multiple $1,000 days. And then after that, we just kept replicating that system where it was like we were just taking a percent of somebody's store and then growing them, helping them with the product research, the store building, the scaling. And then you might ask me, like, Noah, if you don't have the experience and you don't have like the knowledge of how to do this, then how are you helping these people? And their answer is Mark. Like, I worked with Mark, and Mark basically taught me through other people's stores how to do this. And it benefited me. It benefited the clients or the partners, I guess. So, you know, pretty much 6 months after working with Mark, like after starting to get into e-commerce, I had generated somewhere around like 500 to 600,000 in revenue for like 3 different stores that I was working on.
Amazing. And how was the feeling?
The feeling was unbelievable. Like, I remember.
You were 16 that time, am I right?
No, so I was 17 years old in 2017. I turned 17 in October of 2017. So like pretty much right when I got into e-commerce, I turned 17. But yeah, it felt really good. And my income progression was like basically September, I made $1,000. The month after that, I made like 3,000. The month after that, I made 5. And then to end the year off, I made 7. So I went from like literally making nothing to making like 5 to 7 grand a month just in a few months. And this was from like commissions, selling websites, a little bit of profit shares from the stores, but not too much at this point. And then I started, scaling stores, and then it got to like 10K a month, 13, 15K a month I saw that year. So like literally 6 months, I went from nothing to making 15 grand a month. And I remember, I was sitting in a basement with my friends that I was working with at the time. We were all doing e-commerce, and we were just like looking at the phone screen like, yo, we're doing $5,000 a day right now. Like these types of numbers are unheard of where we're from. Like, we didn't think that this type of shit was real, because we're just from a small town. Like, nobody makes good money there. People make like 4,000 a month max, and we were doing that every single day on this store. Obviously not in profit yet, but like we were seeing this potential, and we're like, holy shit, this is real.
Like you just mentioned it, and I'm from the country, I'm from Ukraine, and my city average salary it's like $300-400 a month. $300-400 a month. And when I post in my stories about like 20K a day, even 1,000 a day, like my guys like from the city, like I don't know what you're posting, but like are you spamming or what? Like what is the shit you're posting? I said, never mind. Like if you don't understand English, it's fine. Like just keep it scrolling. But it's really tough for people to understand. It's really weird when you like making 400 a month and there is like on another side like millions in a month or like in a quarter. It's insane. And I feel you, and that's sometimes I'm as well still till even now. Like now it's already easy, but sometimes I'm just like looking on the numbers like shit. Like 5 years back, it would be completely different. Anyway, that's really cool stuff, and especially I put myself on your situation because we were exactly in the same time. Doing our own stuff and trying to grow and making things work. So I remember you jump into the agency space, and after agency space you decided to switch to the mentorship. Am I right? What was the like main decision why you decided to switch it, and how did you feel about it? I believe it was like stress relief for you.
Yeah, so I mean, what really happened was when I first started building stores, we were just taking a percentage of profits from people. And as you know, like 6 months after that, I started my YouTube channel and I started, becoming public with what I was doing, like talking about the results I was getting, sharing the strategies. So, and when I was doing the profit share at first, it actually was consulting. Like I was doing things on my end, but I was also talking to them and explaining what I was doing and, all that stuff. So I've always been a teacher at heart, bro. That's just what I love doing. And I feel like I'm incredibly good at it. The reason I made the transition from like, let's say profit share only into charging upfront was simply like a demand issue. Because once I started my YouTube channel and once I was doing interviews with like Tanner Plains, Hayden, like all the people that were popping at the time, so many people wanted to work with me. And I would just make like a story post and be like, hey, like I'll help you with your store for 30% profit share. And I would literally get like 100 applications. And at that stage, we were only accepting people that already had winning products and we were just scaling them. So I could jump into a store that was already doing $1,000 a day and get 20% instantly and then scale that store to 10K a day. And I did that multiple times. And it no longer made sense to help out the beginners because I just had so many people that wanted to work with me. So the reason I transitioned into like a structured consulting where I was actually charging a flat rate was because I wanted to help people from ground zero. Like I wanted to help people actually find a winning product and then scale it. So in order to do that, I didn't want to help people for free because I had just so many people that were willing to pay. Like, why would I do it for free at that point? I feel like I already proved myself out as somebody who could get results. So I transitioned that. And honestly, that was like the best move I could have made because I started attracting incredible people.
Awesome. I would added something about why you have to charge people upfront. Demand is obviously because your time is valuable and you need to understand that who going to be proceed with payment. They are more serious and most probably going to do the work. But also, both of us are understanding that when I used to work as well on the profit share from the beginning. When you are working with someone who, especially if it's a newbie person who never been in ecom and you really want to help him out, like let's start it, you start showing him, most of the people are not taking serious if they didn't pay for anything. So if it's free, they're happy to join, they're excited, but when time for work to implement the stuff, they start disappearing, late on the calls, not doing homework, like having excuses. But after that, I realized people who paid, they actually doesn't have all that stuff because they understand the value of that because they paid money. And even on my end, I make some kind of things for free and paid, and I understand that really this is mentality of human being. Like when you're not paying for something, you're not taking that serious. Like if you really take your pocket wallet from the pocket and proceed with the payment, now you have obligation to attend and do some work if you're serious. So that's, I believe, as well, a really important thing why you're charging upfront. I mean, accept demand and all the other stuff. and 100% right decision. So now you have a Discord channel. How big is the channel, by the way?
I think we have like, I don't know, 3,000 people in there or something.
Awesome. And how do you enjoy that?
It's really good. I really like the e-commerce community like as a whole. I think Discord is like a great place to bring people together because, people can go in there and ask questions and they can answer questions. And I have, different roles that I can give different people. So if somebody has a certain level of credibility, I can, basically put a label on their name so that people know who's like credible and stuff. And there's different channels. Like Discord is really, really cool. But the e-com community as a whole, like, let's be real. I've done a few different businesses. And e-commerce has hands down the most fun community. It's the most diverse, people from all over the world. Everybody's like super cool and super chill to talk to and meet and network with. So we called the Discord Viral Ecom World because we want it to be like a world of the e-commerce community to kind of bring those people together. And now we're, getting into events and like all these types of things to like try to make that real or like more real than it already is. So I just love the community, bro.
Awesome. And right now, like what have you done with the team? You had an agency, you have a quite big team. You just like decided to go your own, or you just transitioned some part of the team into the Discord, different roles? How was that? How did you manage that part? Yeah,
so a lot of the team members that were running my agency at scale I'm no longer working with them. And the transition, I mean, it was, in terms of like managing the clients that we still had and whatnot, it wasn't that bad, but it was a complete mess because I dragged it on. Like I made it as painful as possible for myself because I didn't want to rip the Band-Aid and tell the clients to piss off and tell the, employees to piss off. I wanted everybody to kind of like fizzle out slowly so it didn't change too much overnight. But it wasn't too bad. And the reason I made the switch, which, by the way, I've switched from, done with you to done for you, like probably 4 times, just back and forth, because there's pros and cons to both types of services. But I don't think I'll be doing done for you, at least for dropshipping anymore, at all, just because I think dropshipping is a business that is best utilized as a stepping stone. And if you're automating dropshipping, it is no longer a stepping stone. So, because basically think about this. You hire an agency, find a winner. Basically, the only benefit that you get is you made money. Now, that's a great benefit, but you're not gaining any of the skills. You're not treating it as a stepping stone to get to the next level. So I literally noticed, like, dude, best case scenario, people join my agency and they make money, but they don't learn shit. They don't take anything home with them. If they want to continue making money, they have to continue paying us because they have no idea what they're doing. So I figured, like, why don't I just like charge them a little bit more and just give them the sauce and allow them to like build the skills so that they can actually like work their way up the ladder.
Yeah, makes sense. 100% makes sense. And that's definitely what as well sometimes like, hey, we will educate you. No, I don't want to be educated. Like, okay, it's weird. I mean, I just want you to run the store. And still, like, that's cool. I mean, that's understandable, and I love them. Like, I really in love with mentorship. I just got exhausted, and this is exactly what is on your end. I believe you just like not jumping, like going in one direction, switching a bit back to another direction, again to another. Just do not be bored. I mean, just to keep this kind of balance of your mental health, and in the same time, like, you're doing something different every single time. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, right now, basically my play was, I was going to start by doing one-on-one coaching again with myself, where I can actually step in and take control of the situation and get some students' results. I actually had a student that got really, really good results. His name is Leighton, and he actually took a student on his own and got his student really good results. So the student, scaled him to like 2K a day in a month or something like that. And then he came to me and asked me if he could work for me as a coach. Like under, my brand name, under my name, and basically kind of, help coach my students. And, this is what kind of sparked my idea of like, okay, if I put together a course and I put together like a really good community, like a private Discord for the students, and I also have a coach, then that means that I can provide the same, done with you and same learning experience to all the students without it taking a ton of my personal time. So this is kind of where I'm at right now, where I still do one-on-one mentorship myself. It's pretty expensive, and right now I'm honestly not really taking students. I only have like 3. If I have any more than 5 at any given time, I start going crazy. Far cry from old Noah, right? I think at my most I had 40 students at once. I was doing like 100 phone calls a week. That's why I got so fat.
I've been in the same shoes, 37 students in the same time, one-on-one. Yeah, it's a model which we were using from Mark Hager. Yeah.
Yep, two calls a week. Brutal.
It's hard. I mean, you're busy 6 days a week for sure, and 7 days it depends of your wish, but it's really hard. Like it's like it just sucks all your energy, and that's why you decide to switch that. But do you agree with me or not? Like, it was super useful for the students. For them, I mean, for people who you coach, it was super useful.
It was crazy, bro. Like, coaching, like if you're a good coach, like you can change some lives, like for real.
Exactly.
Like the amount of impact that you have on them and the amount of impact that they have on you is insane. Like, coaching is probably the highest ROI thing I've ever done, because number one, you don't start learning until you start teaching, and also in our specific industry, like being able to look over 30, 40 people that are testing products and scaling, like you just become a genius when it comes to like choosing products, when it comes to scaling different strategies. You're constantly up to date with everything that's working the best. So it's honestly mutually beneficial to have students, like if you're in e-commerce, simply because you can see like more product tests, you can see more scales, you can get more experience out of it as a coach.
Yeah, you can see how ad accounts are reacting. That's each ad account reacting differently. Each product on different store, or the same product on different store, reacting differently. And you just start feeling all that stuff. It's like you get like 40 students, you get experience of 40 different cases in one shot. And that's really what's made us who we are, just because of the coaching. I believe without coaching, if building just an agency or being just like on our own e-com store, we won't have that much experience as now. And that's really definitely the way to go if you want to study especially e-com. In our industry, it's really important. If you want to be really good on it, you have to see several cases at once. Otherwise, you're going to be always behind of the industry, because industry is moving too fast. Okay. Awesome. Now, yes, and as I know, you're already on TikTok. I mean, you most of the time in TikTok advertising. You're not focusing on Facebook ads anymore, or still moving to that direction as well?
No, mostly just TikTok now.
Awesome. The decision obvious. I won't even ask. I mean, and especially this year, I see TikTok really performing. I mean, they start improving a lot their stuff, especially with the smart campaigns. Do you start using the smart campaigns already or not yet?
No, I mean, I'm not really doing anything fancy on TikTok. Like, it's honestly the same testing strategy on TikTok that we used to do back in 2018 on Facebook. Like 5 ad groups, open targeting, $20 a day. Like, I just keep things really, really simple. And sometimes I'll do like value optimization or cost caps, or I'll get a little fancy with it. But in my experience, you don't really have to.
Yeah, I agree with you that it's not necessary, but we just on our side start seeing incredible result on 2 accounts. Not all accounts performing well, but on 2 accounts, smart campaigns with the value conversion, not conversion, with the value, not the conversion objections. And that's really performing so good. We just duplicating all the time and vertically increasing the budget. Yeah, smart campaigns on some ad accounts really are overperforming that we were even not able to accept that. So just test it out. But definitely I agree with you. Broad $20. This is one of the best testing strategy on the both platforms. Awesome. Tell me please, okay, ecom, dropshipping, understandable, and you become really well on it in terms of knowledge. You start making money. You made your first car, after that another car. But time came, you start grow up, and you understand that, okay, it's funny, it's cool, but what about the future? You start investing into the real estate, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more about it. I mean, how's the journey going? How many houses you already acquired? How hard it was with the first house? And maybe share some kind of thoughts about it.
Yeah. Well, real estate to me is like, my goal with it is just to build wealth. And I understand that it's the same thing as when I was 16 years old. I see an opportunity or like a window of time that I have, and I want to take it. And to me, whipping out a Google sheet and seeing how real estate compounds over 20 to 30 years just blows my mind. And just to think that I'm only, 20 years old. When I bought my first property, I was 19 years old. So back then, I was thinking like, dude, like most people that get really, really rich and really, really wealthy in real estate, they don't start until they're like 30, 40. So imagine if you started when you were 19. and then on top of that, you're also making a bunch of money that you can put into it. So I'm like, this is a no-brainer because I have time. Like time is on my side. And now that I understand that I have this powerful thing called time, like, 20, 30 years from now, I'm still only going to be 40, 50 years old. Grant Cardone is what, 60? Like, we got time. We're still going to be young in 20 years. So understanding this motivated me to start taking steps today that would set me up for wealth in the future. And real estate was one of those things.
How was the first purchase for you? I mean, what the pitfalls have you got? How hard it was to learn the industry, or you just like started, bought it, and after that start learning? How that journey started?
There was a book called The Basics of Real Estate Investing by Brandon Turner. It's really good. He's a guy that's in the United States. So if you're in the US, I would definitely check out that book. But I read that book and I actually found a real estate agent that was local to me, who was also getting into investing, and he understood it more than I did, at least. So similar to Ecom, like, yo, I want to get into real estate. Can you like show me some stuff? And he was an agent, and I told him like, yo, if you teach me and make sure that I don't make a major mistake here, I'll buy the house from you and you can get the commission, and we made it work. And this guy, like, bro, I kid you not, he helped me out so much, man. Like every single question I ever had, he helped me review properties. He helped me, took me to the properties and walked them with me, explained to me like, this is the foundation, this is the siding, this is the roofing. And we submitted offers together, and he just really took like probably 6 to 8 months, like where we were just walking deals, talking, late night conversations, with some cigars or something like that, and just mentored me. But all in all, I didn't make a major mistake because of him, but it was incredibly scary. Like it was terrifying, like making that jump, buying that first property. It feels like something you're not supposed to be doing. It feels like something that, it feels illegal, and it feels like you're making this major mistake. And I'm not going to lie, the first property I bought, I don't think I made a single dollar on it. Like maybe like 10 or 20 grand in total since I bought it. I'm actually about to sell it now. And the reason for that is because, it wasn't that great of a deal. And I also didn't manage it like at all for like 2 years. So, 2 out of the 3 or 4 years that I owned it, it was managed terribly and just didn't bring in much rent at all because I just didn't care. I was making money in other places. Like I literally had a tenant there that wasn't paying rent for like over a year, and I didn't give a shit.
Whoa.
I wasn't checking.
Yeah. It's not a passive income, it's as well business, and you were looking on that as a passive income, which is becoming
100%.
Later on when you build the ecosystem. Am I right?
Yeah, 100%. I was looking at it like, all right, I have the property now. What's next? I just forgot about it. I'm like, whatever. And then it's like, I have a tenant not paying rent. It's like $1,000 a month. Now I got to go through an eviction process. I got to talk to them. Like these little bits of effort to make an extra $1,000 a month. Are you kidding? That's not worth my time. Like, don't talk to me. Just live there. I don't care. Right? That's basically the mentality that I had. And then I realized like, okay, shit, if I want to actually scale this and buy more properties, I have to actually manage them.
It's insane. Especially I can imagine like 20-year-old guy will come to you and you're like 45 renting the house, and he'll start telling you something about like his age of your son, and he's starting to telling you pay me money or go out. Like what the fuck? I mean, it definitely was the challenge for you to manage that stuff by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do any of it. I didn't care. Like I genuinely am not gonna, put in all this effort just for an extra $1,000 a month. Like that was my mindset. And people took advantage of me, and so what? I bought a few more properties and fixed my management systems. Probably for about a year now, I've been running pretty solid, like fixed all my systems, systemized everything, hired people, got management, got someone, to run things for me. I got contractors like handymen, plumbers, electricians. Like I spent like 6 months fixing everything, like after I had like 14 units already. I basically just bought the buildings and then fixed it.
Yeah, but like the same like with Ecom, you starting and learning on the process, but this is more painful because it's a physical, and really it's hiring people and my management companies, like the most important as well, do not make mistakes on it. And tell me how helpful for you was like the events related to real estate or private calls which you made it with the big real estate guys. How valuable is that? How important is that? The same like in Ecom, or like it just was not that necessary, you just like take it extra steps?
Like the books were really helpful. Watching YouTube videos, going to local real estate events has been huge because I've met other investors, I've met contractors, I've met people that would basically advise me, other agents, lenders, like basically just building the team and network of people. So definitely go to real estate events. But probably the biggest help for me was not like the paid mentorings or like the call that I did with Ben Mala. Like of course those are valuable, but the biggest value to me was like that friendship and the relationship that I built with that original agent that actually mentored me through everything. And still to this day, like if I'm about to buy a property or if I'm about to sell a property, I still go to him for advice and he still answers his phone and I make sure he's paid and I buy him nice dinners when I'm in town. Like we take care of each other. And that's been an incredibly valuable relationship. So that's probably what I would recommend to anybody is like start reading books, go to some real estate events, and try to find your friend. Like try to find your person that can be a friend to you, can be a support line to you. It helps if they're an actual real estate agent and an actual investor, that way that they can actually be compensated for helping you. You know what I mean? That's probably the best thing you can do.
Awesome. I was pushed as well for the real estate, and actually thanks God that I made the decision, but I bought it in Ukraine, buying in Ukraine, and war started. Like we just invested in one apartment, about to invest in the second one under the construction. Thanks God I haven't done that because in a week after I made a decision, war have been started. And now I'm out of US. It's completely different game for me as a not US citizen, and I'm just traveling for events. But we find out the way. I mean, the first kind of mortgage deal has been done, which is I'm as a bank on that deal and investing into the house with the contract, which is still cool, better than nothing. But I'm really looking forward for legal things on real estate for US because I understand completely that it's the best way to go. Like crypto and all other stuff, it's okay, but it's not generating you income. And real estate, it's something which has value. This value is increasing and plus generating you passive cash flow, which is well done, man, really well done. I mean, especially about your decision to start it in the young age, because again, I started 2 years ago. And I was 30 at that time, and you started less than 20, in 19, which is freaking amazing. And you learn it on your mistakes, the same like we learning on Ecom mistakes. I mean, any kind of business has this kind of practical time where we making mistakes, making success, and if we not quit, we overtake all of that and start taking benefits, which is freaking awesome. I can tell you, I'm proud of you because not many Ecom guys are doing that because they are just start living successful lifestyle and at the end they could stay with nothing or they living just on the credit. By the way, how was for you in the young age for taking the line of credit? So you were taking all the deals only in cash. How do you deal in that again without the credit history?
I had to take my credit very seriously because when I bought my first property, I was 18 years old. Was I 18? I think no. So I was 1 year of credit history. So I had 1 year of credit history. I was 18 turning 19 when I closed on the first one. Technically, I was already 19 when I closed, but I had the credit of an 18-year-old. I guess you could say. So, I went and got a credit card, paid it off every single month. At this time, I had a car loan as well. I got the BMW M4. That was when I was 18, and I paid that off. So I had like a very terrible interest rate because my credit was terrible, and I didn't have a cosigner or anything like that. I think it was like 18% interest rate. So I just paid that off, and then that mixed with the credit cards put my score at like somewhere between like 650 and 700. I don't remember the exact number, but it was enough to get a mortgage.
Okay. So first mortgage you taken without any problems because of this previous credit history.
Right.
Okay.
And at that point, I had already had 2 years worth of tax returns because when I was 17, I had made decent money, not anything crazy. But then when I was 18, I made a good amount of money. So debt to income wasn't an issue. And then I had a credit score because I paid off the car and I got the credit cards.
Awesome. Yeah, I started building the credit history just this actually end of the last year. I finally was able with my company in US. I'm managing all the business since 2019 from US. I mean, based on US, but never had credit cards, never had anything about the credit history related to me, only related to company. And now finally I became smart enough. Well, I was so dumb previous years that I haven't started because I was focusing on ecom and no other things. Now, like when you start really like horizontally scaling all the stuff and start having more time, I understood last year like, whoa, I never thought about the credit cards, credit scores, get the benefits from the credit cards and all the stuff. And I feel how much money I lose in the past years because I haven't utilized all those things. And now I'm flying to the conferences in US basically from credit cards points. It's freaking awesome. I mean, free flights. So that's really like hopefully that I will able to build in a year as well this kind of credit history, which is new for me. So as I'm not a US citizen, it's something really interesting journey for me. And you done that, so now you are just focusing. What's your focus on the next, let's say, 2-3 years? Because things are moving so fast. AI is here, ecom is here, real estate is here. How do you see yourself that you're gonna be growing horizontally, vertically in these kind of industries?
Well, I'm starting to view e-commerce from like a bird's eye. Like I really want to, like I said, like start throwing events and like bringing the community into real life. We've done some collaborations with some really cool companies that we can like, basically utilize to help us do that. And we have our next event coming up here in June, which is, private. But we want to start doing them publicly and start getting people in the room. So I want to stay very involved in the e-commerce industry. Obviously, we have viral e-com ads. We got the education company. We got the events now. We're looking into starting softwares. So I'm looking for new ways to expand and new ways to grow in that space. And then honestly, man, like I'm very infatuated with real estate right now because I do see the potential of the exponential growth of it. And many people don't want to get into real estate, and it's hard to justify because, if you get into real estate, the amount of money that you make is not worth it. Like if you're making $100,000 a month from your business, going and investing in a property that's going to make you $3,000 a month, it's not worth your time. But you have to understand that the way that exponential curves work is it doesn't become worth your time until you see like the last years, you know what I mean? Like until you see down the road. So I'm a firm believer that real estate will be worth my time if you average it out over my entire life. So for example, like 15 years from now, 20 years from now, it's going to make up for all the time I'm wasting today, if that makes sense. And I understand that. And I also understand the more time and the more money that I invest into real estate today, the bigger that curve is going to be at the end. So I'm pretty much doing those two things, just expanding in the e-commerce space and starting to take real estate more seriously, acquiring more properties. I have 5 right now. I have another one under contract right now, and I'm selling one of my other ones. So I'll probably be somewhere like 20 to 30 units by the end of next year, which is where I'm trying to be.
Awesome, man. And that's true. When you're in commerce and making these kind of crazy numbers like 5K a day and 10K a day and so on, and after that you like, I will make from this house 600, that, like, seriously, like, what the fuck, like, why am I gonna be doing 600 a month, not a day? And by the way, have you choose to purchase the houses from only one location or overall through US? How did you decide to focus on this direction for yourself in your home city or some other places?
I purchased in my hometown. I knew it well. That's where my friend was that was mentoring me. So he knew the area well. He could make the best recommendations. That's where my network was. That's where I can get recommendations for. I'm about to start investing in other places, though. I'm not 100% sure where, but like in order for me to get to where I want to go, I have to go to a bigger area because my hometown is very small.
For bigger checks.
Yeah. It's just, only like 3-4 families there. There's not many like 10 unit buildings, 20 units. And that's eventually where I want to get to. And then I just have my house in Arizona that I live in,
Yeah, awesome. And by the way, Viral Ecom, you have as well the UGC creating company. Am I right? Well, awesome. How far have you got that in the last couple of years since you created? Am I right? So it's another direction, which is like managing by your partner and like team, which is working completely out of your control, or how everything is for managing, controlling and managing, and focus. All the focus is going on that side, since you are doing other things.
Yeah, I mean, like I have a partner with that business. It's not like a full-time thing for me. It's a part-time thing at best. And even if I did step into it full time, I don't think that's the best use of my time. So right now, I'm managing the events. I'm consulting, my partner on like what he should do to grow it. And I'm also helping with that, running influencer campaigns, marketing, making the product better. Like UGC is a very, very hard service to crack. And we cracked that code probably like 2 years ago now, like early 2021 is when we started looking into it. That's also when I started TikTok ads. And we got it so down now. I mean, we have a major list of UGC creators. We've helped tons and tons of brands, drop shippers, you name it. We have an organic team now where we can actually make brands go viral. So we've done a lot with UGC, and I feel like we've came a long way, and we've systemized it in a way that not many other companies have been able to, which allows us to just pretty much create UGC out of thin air, which is really valuable. So I'm proud of that.
Awesome, bro. Yeah, I have seen how the company was growing, and that's definitely worst of try that time. And this kind of industry was actually just started that moment a few years ago when TikTok started showing up. UGC wasn't around, and now it's a big thing, and you jump on the train on the time. And the software business, by the way, this is as well what we are jumping from our side at the moment for software business for Ecom. This is the direction as well what I believe on, and you just mentioned it. It's cool because I believe there could be similar conversation going on, because we create completely separate company. I have a partner there who is built already 9 different IT softwares for the Forex and financial markets. And now they want to jump into the e-commerce, and I want to jump into the software. So it's like a perfect fit. So maybe we can really share to each other some kind of insights, which could be useful as well. If you wish, we can speak about that. But definitely, that's cool, man. I love to see this kind of progress and that kind of pitfalls which we have in the past. And in my end, I learn from the fails all the time. I fail so many times. Even now I keep failing on some bigger things, but still fails happening. And this is my journey. This is how everything is going. On your end, it was really as well hard hustle, and you learn it, your time management, you learn it where you want to see yourself, and especially the age, it's a huge advantage for you. That's for sure, and that's so cool. I'm really see on you the example for the younger generation than me, what has to be done if you want to achieve something. And it's always take time. If you start something, it never show you tomorrow the results. It will show you results in a matter of couple of months minimum, maybe even more. It depends how hard you're working on it and how smart you implement the things. So, Noah, I have last thing for you to ask, which is I'm always asking everyone on the podcast, so it's the last question. And if you're okay, I'll ask you as well. Sounds good? Awesome. What would you choose, the journey or end result?
I don't really need to put I don't really need to put thought into it, but I need to put a thought into an explanation. Number one, I think the journey, but I wouldn't take the journey without the end result, if that makes sense. Like, I would only pick the journey if I have confidence that I have the end result. Like, I would never just, grind and build if I wasn't confident that I would get the end result. But I also will accept the end result without the journey. Like, if I won the lottery, like, fuck yeah, like, bring it, right? Like, I'll take it.
You cheated a bit, but I completely understand what you mean. I completely understand what
like
you mean.
One without the other is just not great. You know what I'm saying?
And I love your answer, really. I will tell you what really I love in your answer is that you will choose the journey, but only if I will see the end result. And still, you will make that end result, but journey still continue, but it will be another end result for that kind of journey.
Yeah.
So,
and bro, if I take the journey and I don't get the end result, I'm just not going to stop. I'm just not going to quit. Like, I'll still keep going. You know what I mean? So I have to get it.
Exactly. Love it. Awesome, bro. Would you like to share anything with our audience? Maybe some offer on your end or social medias where they can find you, whatever you wish.
Yeah, my Instagram and Twitter is at Noah D. Brewer if you want to message me or just follow me and see what I'm up to. I'm pretty engaging with everybody. I love meeting new people. So if you think that would be a cool connection, feel free to reach out. I'm not like one of those pedestal guys who like keeps my DMs closed. Like, I check my DMs every day. I try to keep up with all my friends and network online, including Anatoliy. Like, we met up in person. What was that, like a year ago now?
November 2021, when I first time visit US.
Time flies, bro.
Insane.
But yeah, I love building my network. So if you think that we would be good friends or whatever, just reach out, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you.
Awesome, bro. Yes, all the social media links and information will be provided in all the bio of this podcast and our YouTube channel as well. And definitely, guys, I hope that you got valuable pieces of advices, plus even the guidance about the real estate, guidance about the ecom, and stories which is just like young person share with you and what he all came over and where he is now. Sometimes you have to take responsibility of your life, and doesn't matter how young you are or old you are. The most important, you start taking the responsibility on and taking the risks and responsibilities on your steps, and never quit. My goal, like my words in my life, it's like I'm here where I am just because I never quit. And nothing is working, I'm still keep going. The same what you mentioned, or just like a minute ago, that if result not there, I keep going and I won't quit. That's the fucking difference between the average people and us. I mean, to who will be getting the best results in our life. I believe on that, and I guess like this is how it is. Anyway, Noah, I appreciate you for your time and for all the things which you shared. So guys and girls, please reach out, feel free, and Noah will definitely help you out. And don't forget to subscribe on his channel, because he has a lot of valuable videos about the ecom. This dude shows unbelievable results in the sport, from really fatty body to incredible strong body. And the same with ecom, from nothing to some great $30 million results on his end. So thanks, Noah. Speak soon, and just guys, we'll see you on another podcast.
Yep. Thank you for having me on, bro.